Hi guys, welcome back to the Astrology. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the transit of Saturn to the sign of Pisces, which has happened on 29th of March 2025. And for you guys, we're talking about in this video about Leo sign, and you can watch, of course, this video both from a Leo ascendant or Leo moon sign perspective as well. But if you are watching this from a Leo moon standpoint, this is going to be a transit into eighth house depicting your Ashtam Shani Sadesati. I'm so sorry, Daya. Now, of course, if you watch this from a Leo moon perspective, you have to understand that this transit is going to bring in a lot of emotional, mental significances into play for you folks. But from a Leo ascendant perspective as well, you can derive those significances coming into your life from a physical realization or a physical manifestation. Now, this becomes critical video for Leo moon viewers because we are going to also touch upon the transitory impact of the Daya coming into play, which is 2.5 years where some or the other challenges of Saturn, Shani's impact into your emotional life, turbulences that you can anticipate are going to come into play. You must have a chat with Scorpios regarding this, with Cancers regarding this, as to what they felt during this period, and both Scorpio moon as well as Cancer moon. And now it's the time for the fiery sign of Leo and Sagittarius facing the same challenges which the other ones are going through. So friends, without further ado, let's jump into this video to understand what is going to be the impact for Leo and see what this Saturn holds in store in future in the next 2.5 years. So as you can see that Saturn is now going to be coming into your eighth house. He is the lord of your sixth house and your seventh house, moving a transit into the eighth house. In the last 2.5 years, this Saturn was placed into the sign of Aquarius in your seventh house itself. You would have definitely seen a positive impact coming into play with respect to your marriage or with respect to your relationships, partnership through the course of this period. But at the same time, the challenge that comes with the Leo sign is that this Saturn also is the lord of your sixth house. So when the sixth house lord comes into the seventh, can bring in the effects of sixth into the seventh too, which means that many of you, whilst would have got married, started new relationships, new partnerships, significant amount of you from a Leo standpoint could have also seen an end of relationships, breakage coming into the relationships, separation coming into play, health issues coming into your marital situations too, which is not an easy situation to be in. People who've been running their businesses would have seen some or the other breakages, stoppages, challenges coming into their business, into their partnerships, into their careers. It could have been a turbulent period from a career standpoint, yet you could have observed a lot of upheaval, lot of shift, job change, etc., business related transformation coming into your life because of this placement of Saturn into your seventh house itself. And you have to understand this Saturn was not having any great aspects too. He was giving a debilitated aspect into the ninth house from its third aspect. Things could have been difficult from your father perspective. Things would have been difficult in your job, at your work perspective, with your bosses, with your superiors, seniors at work. You would have seen unnecessary delay, luck, fortune, career not seeing the kind of uptick, growth coming your way through the course of this period as well. Unnecessary, unexpected delays could have come, and it would have built that frustration. It could have built up that pressure, unnecessary emotion and mental pressure would have mounted on you during this period as well. Now, whilst from a Lagna perspective, I can see all those aspects coming into play from an emotional aspect perspective. If you're watching this from a Leo moon standpoint, you would have seen a lot of trauma, lot of pain build up. for your partners too. Your spouse, your partner, your better half would have also struggled along with you. And this may not necessarily mean that the trauma is because of your fault or there. It was just meant to happen during this period of time. It was not an easy period from that perspective. However, for many of you Leos, if the dasha, antardasha of your natal chart would have been traversing, you would have seen expansion also come in, because wherever Saturn sits, he tends to expand into that portfolio. And you would have seen expansion in terms of your business, seen growth in terms of your marital bliss. What does that mean? It means you could have given birth to a child. You would have seen expansion in terms of your family. You could have seen acknowledgement come in from a social circle to you. And that is the positive impact. Not everything would have been negative with this placement of Saturn. Yet, this Saturn was giving an inimical aspect into the sign of Leo, which is your ascendant, which is your moon sign, if you are watching from a Leo moon perspective. And that aspect to the first house is an inimical aspect, means it could have given a lot of frustration, lot of overthinking, lot of stress would have also come along with that expansion of your business, along with the efforts that you've been making in your relationship, in your marriage. You would have seen a constant stream of struggle mounting on top of your head, and it would have not been an easy journey at all. I can only imagine the kind of complexities that you would have faced during this period, my friends. Yes, many of you would have been anticipating to make a shift, leave your hometown, go and traverse to a new place, make a shift in your career. And that would not have been easy as well. Saturn was giving a aspect to your 4,000 to the sign of Scorpio. And that aspect is an aspect where I anticipate some level of transformation for you from a home front, some level of change, some level of pivot would have come at your family front. You would have either spent some time to acquire something new. Maybe even your interest in occult would have increased in the last 2.5 years, Leos. Or it is possible that you would have made certain shift in your family space, in your home space, in your home setup itself. That is also a significant possibility. But you leaving your hometown, you leaving your traditional place, your ancestral place, if you were trying to do that, would not have happened all this time. No matter how hard you would have tried to make a shift, it would have not at least transpired into a positive outcome. And that is why that stagnation, that staying within the bounds in these 2.5 years was extremely important. I have advised that in some of my previous videos as well for Leos. But a lot of that shift is going to come into play. Why is Dave trying to call out some of the challenges that you faced? Because you have to understand the aspects of Saturn in the previous transit weren't great at all, and they weren't great for any of the zodiac signs. Its aspect was into the two signs of Mars, with whom Saturn holds a non compatible relationship, into the sign of Aries. That's a debilitated aspect into the Scorpio. He's not happy there too. And then the inimical aspect to his father, into the sign of Leo itself. So the aspects were so turbulent that it would have definitely created challenging situations for you folks. But that aspect is going to now change. Aspects are going to get better in this transit. That negativity of the aspects is going to go away, and it is going to come into the positive signs where this Saturn holds either a neutral or a positive relationship, like the sign of Virgo. Correct, Virgo. Now, with Venus and Mercury, Saturn holds a positive relationship, whilst it's a neutral relationship when it comes into the sign of Sagittarius with Jupiter. And that is the reason I am saying that one, you are going to see the shift of this Saturn into the 8th house itself, which has its challenges, but there are positive outcomes that come into play with the aspects. And that is why I personally believe that the Daya of Leos is not as harsh, it is not as difficult as it was for the case of Scorpios or Cancer signs. So you guys are going to face a much better situation from that perspective. And thereby, that in itself is a sigh of relief, my friends. Now, this Saturn, which is placed in your 8th house, which will get placed into the 8th house actually on 29th of March, will be coming with combustion. Saturn is currently combusted, and its movement into your sign of Pisces in the 8th is going to come with that combustion itself, and it will continue till April. But The difficult situation is that it is also going to be in conjunction with Rahu in the 8th house. Rahu will move into your 7th house from May onwards, and I've done that analysis in the annual videos as well as in my monthly predictions as well. You must check that out. And we will talk more about the Rahu Ketu transit as well later. But importantly, what you will observe is that this Saturn is the Lord of 6th coming into the 8th house. And first and foremost, whilst this Daya is going to start from a moon sign for Leo perspective, you should understand that this is going to form a Viparit Raj Yoga. Means you are going to find success after a significant pain. You are going to find success after challenges are being faced by others as well. And when they vacate a spot, when they vacate something, that is when things are going to work out for you. It's Viparit Raj Yoga. When something negative happens to somebody else, that is where you are going to start benefiting. Sounds too negative, but it simply means that in the pecking order of things, now you will be at second best. That is the change that you're going to observe with this Saturn being the Lord of your 6th house coming into 8th house into play. Now, the other reality is also that he is the Lord of your 7th house coming into second. From a partnership perspective, from a marriage perspective, if you're running your enterprise standpoint, you are going to see that your culmination of efforts will come into play with some level of suddenness associated to it, with some level of transformation associated to it. And that is all what Daya is going to entail for you. There is going to be a degree of transformation. There is going to be a certain amount of delay. There will be a certain amount of challenges. There is going to be a certain amount of surprises which are going to come into play in how you are going to see the derivative of the outcomes coming into your life. So, especially if things have been moving in a certain direction from your marriage standpoint, from your relationship standpoint, you are going to see surprises there. You are going to observe certain challenges that will pop up, and you will have to address those fights of life. For Moon, Leo, it is not going to be easy, but these transformations are going to be there from a Leo ascendant rising perspective as well. Remember, this Saturn is the Lord of your 6th house, and he is coming into 8. So this change, this transformation, this culmination is going to come from a job perspective too, not just if you are a businessman. For Leos, that is the double whammy. Half the people can escape through certain problems if they are working in job and not in business, but that is not the case for Leos. Whether you are in a job or in business, you are going to see a shift in your career. And we will talk about the third aspect of the Saturn as well, which is coming into your 10th house in a minute. But you have to understand here that the better thing if you are in a job is going to be at least you are going to be second in the pecking order, in the priority order, which means that something that turns out positive for you can happen. Other person in your office, in your workplace is not ready to take that assignment, is not ready to take that shift, that transfer. And I talked about it, that when Saturn was in the sign of Aquarius, many of you who were looking forward to change their residences, many of you who were looking forward to go and start working at a new place that was not working out. But from a job standpoint, at least, that shift is going to happen, which means new opportunities after somebody denies them will come to your lap. And Leos, this is where you have to be smart. You have to catch hold of those opportunities with both hands, because Saturn is also giving an aspect, 10th house. It's the third aspect. Your work will require you to make some kind of a shift. Your work will require some additional amount of effort. Your karma, whether in a job, whether in a business, whether if you are a homemaker watching this video, will require you to put in additional time and effort into your daily routine, into your daily schedule. Because without that extraordinary effort, nothing is going to pan out easy for you as you might desire. See, I anticipate one thing, that for many of you, there will be a definitive shift in your daily habits. People who have a tendency of being lazy, people who have a tendency of not waking up on time, not being disciplined about their entire approach, their day-to-day activities, you are going to see that shift. If you are not going to do that better by yourself with your own interest, with your own mindset, you are going to see that it's the Saturn which is going to inculcate that in you. He is going to push that activity in you. He is going to expect you to transform. Sixth house is your house of daily habits. It is the house of your job, your career, your health, loans and litigations, divorce, prarabdha in general. And the Lord of that is going into the house of transformation, albeit in the sign of Pisces. But it marks an end to everything dramatic that you've had in life. Whether you like it or not, but that shift in your mindset, that shift in your behavior, that shift in your regular habits has to be brought in. And you will see that many of you will start following a schedule in time. You are going to start waking up early. You are going to become more disciplined. And that is going to be a savior, my friends. Because if you don't do so yourself, Saturn is going to force you with certain situations in life which will result in you then following it. So, the best approach will be to start conducting that change, that transformation in you proactively by yourself and for yourself. Now, of course, is going to be giving an aspect to the 10th house as well from the third aspect. But the good part is that aspect is into the sign of Venus. Now, you have to understand what dasha, antardasha you are going through. But your karma will somewhere or the other get aligned with Venus. You will have a tough time, Saturn sitting and aspecting from the 8th house. You will have some tough challenges coming in from your workplace, but you will have to do something for the women around you, with the women around you, with women in your workplace, or with women as your clientele. Respect towards them is going to result into a very positive outcome. Even if you are a woman yourself watching this video, please be very cognizant of this fact that you will have to somewhere reciprocate that feminine energy through your karma, through your kindness, through your generosity. And this means that somewhere or the other, you might have to be more empathetic towards the challenges people are facing at your workplace. You will have to show some sympathy. You will have to extend some support towards other people. Maybe share their workload. Do some additional bit in terms of going beyond what is just needed. Just guys, do not get stuck with your work role, your work profile, your scope of work itself. It's going to be an extremely pessimistic and negative attitude as to how you function in the next 2.5 years, because you will have to be more community oriented, you will have to be more philanthropic, you will have to take up jobs, roles which are not just confined in your description. And that is going to result into you acquiring more knowledge, that is going to result into you learning more and better during the course of this 2.5 years. So it is important, Leos, that you support people, you support your family members. Sharing the load of your family, sharing the load in terms of the effort for your family members is going to become extremely crucial, extremely important. Again, you will have to find a daily rhythm towards that. Support in the growth of your family members, support through the career, through the joint business, towards joint approach towards your family in itself. You will have to shoulder more tasks. You have to bring in that earning, because the connection is coming in with the sixth, with the seventh, 10th, all combined towards the second. So unless and until you hold your responsibilities, unless and until you take up the charge, unless and until you take up the ownership of the responsibilities, everything is going to crumble. Whether you are a homemaker, whether you are a student, person at job, running your own business, spearheading the entire family, whatever be your persona, whatever be the kind of personality you have, whatever walk of life you are coming in from and watching this video, the best remedy with this Saturn that you will have to do is you'll have to stand up for your family. You will have to shoulder the responsibilities with your hard work, with your karma, with your efforts. If you are taking up that additional community role in terms of supporting somebody at your work, think with a mindset that you are doing this, it is going to be better for what your family expects. These 2.5 years, guys, you have to go beyond your job description and beyond your job description in any sphere of life, not just at your workplace, beyond your job description at home, beyond your job description in your relationships. You will have to shoulder that additional bit for your spouse, for your partner. They should see the benefits of being your partner. They should sense it in your act of service. There are five love languages, guys. Now, I'm digressing from astrology, but for Leos, it is important for you to understand. It is quality time, act of service, physical touch, whatever, couple of other things. But act of service is going to become extremely important. Please Google and figure out what the other two are. If I've forgotten, somebody can just put that in comments. But guys, understand, the reason I bring all this knowledge for you, this wide spectrum of thinking, so that you grow along. We collectively grow as a team here. And for Leos, it is going to be a crucial period. Guys, please understand. Daya is not going to be easy. You have to think from the lens I'm trying you to approach this thing. It will become much, much easier, significantly easier for you. And this is coming from a guy who's battling Sadesati. So I'm trying to teach you, mentor you, guide you with experience here. Because it can be extremely gruesome, troublesome. So learn from the experiences of others. Learn from the experience of myself. I'm telling you that this is a period that can become mentally, emotionally traumatic. Unless you shift your mindset that whatever is happening to me or around me is because of my own karmas, and I have to stand up to the occasion to deliver more. And you have to deliver more in all quarters, in all spheres of life. So that means if you need to do a simple activity of supporting your family members, let's say in doing chores at home, or putting in additional hours of effort to bring in that additional income, or just sustain your income in difficult economic situations, in difficult economic times, you must and you have to. There is no getaway during this period, my friends. I know so many Leos who've had a gala time, but that will change. And Dev is not one of those people who talks negative. In Dev astrology, I try to help folks things from a positive aspect. And that is why I'm saying prepare yourself to go the extra mile, to push 5% extra. And you will see that you will sail through this period. And this Saturn is giving an aspect to your fifth house as well. Romance, your investments, your education. If you're a student watching this video, all of that could see a shift, could see an impact, could see some level of additional effort required from your side. Guys, Saturn is sitting in 8 and aspecting the fifth. Imagine your relationship could see a sudden turmoil, it could see a sudden shift. But how do you work towards it? How do you make that better? Through act of service. Do something for your partner. It is not necessary you are bringing that gift with those bunch of roses. No. Understand. If he or she is facing a tough time at their work, can you provide them some support emotionally or mentally? If they are getting tired at home, can you help them in their daily chores? Can you take one of their pain point away from their life? You are automatically addressing the day of Saturn because you are helping people. You are acting. You are doing actions. And you will see that the risk of turmoil, the risk of transformation, which could come in your relationship with your boyfriend, with your girlfriend, with any relationship, with your romantic partner, with spouse itself, they will get addressed. They will get fixed. When you are struggling with education, you must burn the midnight oil during this period for you to crack that entrance exam, for you to get into that right institute, that right university that you've been eyeing, dreaming for. And it is a neutral relationship with Sagittarius folks. You don't have to worry about it. But what is expected is that extra mile effort. You will have to revise your subjects one last time before being 100% sure that yes, you've done everything. You will have to put that one last effort in terms of rechecking that you've traversed through, covered all quarters, checked all boxes through the course of this period. Be very skeptical while putting in your money into any kind of investment. You'll have to double check. You have to shy away from speculation of any and all kinds. No gambling, no betting, no estimation of what stock can fly high for you. Somebody comes and says, hey, Mr. XYZ, you should invest in XYZ stock. No, you're not going to make those kind of stupid mistakes. You have to rely into knowledge. You have to rely into the right expertise. You have to rely into the right methodology. Only then you will see the rise, or else this is going to be F all period from a money standpoint as well, from a fame standpoint as well. So I want you, please, guys, pull up your socks, pull up your sleeves, tell yourself that this is going to be a period where I'm going to go the extra mile, where I'm going to put a bit of more effort, be it in my relationship, be it in my job, be it in my business, be it my partnerships, professional partnerships here, be it any karma that I'm taking, I have to bring in that act of service towards my family members, towards any relationships that I value. I have to put in longer hours in terms of how I'm studying, how I'm preparing, how I'm going about my entire research, because this Saturn is going to help you research and grow. It's going to bring in your knowledge into deeper subjects. You could acquire that information as well. So this is a period where I'm going to promise myself that I'm not going to shy away from any hard work. And I can bet, guys, if you approach this Daya through that mindset as a Leo moon, or even as a Leo ascendant, this Ashtam Shani, with that mindset, if you approach, you are going to sail through. You are going to do exceedingly well because you guys are blessed. The aspects of Saturn are much more positive for you than what the Scorpios and the Cancerians were facing through. It was not easy for them at all. And that is the reason I'm saying you must leave no stone unturned. All right. If you've enjoyed watching this video, then you must smash on that like button, subscribe to Dev Astrology, and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya.